Hey guys, and welcome back to Divine Journey 2. Last episode, we expanded out this farm, moved some things around, so that we could add a plant gatherer and plant sower combination to farm all of the roots crops. This was a necessary automation step, as these crops are going to be required in the empowerer that we're going to be getting to today, I think. We also crafted up the Deep Dark portal, where we have the RF Tools Silk Touch Quarry, giving us tons and tons of ores. I've expanded out our drawer network here, and I think I've got all the resources that we're going to get from this thing. Thank you for reminding me about this filter as well. Last episode I had it so that I was mining all of the ores and voiding them in the drawers, but it does actually consume power on every block it breaks, so it was consuming extra power just to mine all the stone, which is very, very inefficient. So this way it just blacklists all of these blocks, and apparently spruce wood planks as well. But I'm going to try and keep the energy cells for that thing topped up throughout this episode. The goal for today though is to get to Elevatium ingots. And these ingots are important as it lets us get the dark solarium that we need for our dimensional transceiver. It also, I believe, opens up chapter 13, which is where we can get auto crafting, but there's still a ways to go before we can get that. So picking up where we left off last time, to get this Elevatium we need crystal bundles, which means we need empowered glod, diamantine and emeradic crystals. Let's start with the emeradic. You know what, first of all we need somewhere to put this empowerer set up. Alright, well, I may have gotten a little bit carried away with the building here, but we have a brand new corridor on our base, and I've expanded out this area to fit our empowerers in. This is also somehow going to connect through to this main processing machine room, but like I mentioned last time, this is going to get slightly redesigned once we unlock interfaces. But as you've seen, I also did run an ME connection over here, but to hook it up, we actually run out of P2P channels, so I've added another 12 P2P connections on the other faces of the controller. The connection to this room doesn't actually do anything at the moment. Once we hook it up to our Applied Energistics system, it's just going to be here so that we don't have to wire it later on. So yeah, the empowerer. I am powering this with some power cells that you saw me crafting. These things from RF Tools are still not cheap for us at the moment. It does take the RF Tools machine frames, but these allow for wireless energy transfer. So I have one here. I've actually put one on the quarry in the deep dark. And the third one I have sitting on the output of our diesel generators as an input for power. I made 4 of those things, so I think the 4th one we're going to stick in this machine room here, and I'm going to replace all of these Mekanism cables with energy conduits actually. So yeah, the way this empowerer works is we have to put in the 4 input items on these display stands, and we also have to give these power. So each display stand corresponds with the input items you can see here in JEI, and then the middle one obviously goes in the empowerer. I have also crafted up some Ender IO filters for this thing, filtered it for every single empowered material. And the way I'm doing the filters is the way you see them in JEI here. So we have the Vivid Alloy on top, is how I've set the filters. So the Vivid Alloy goes in the top one, and then I've filtered the left hand side of JEI to the left side of the room. And same with this side as well. I've actually set the filters and prepped the area to add some more empowerers, as we're going to be having multiple of these setups. So yeah, this is just a basic input chest which extracts on the brown channel. And then we extract the finished product from the empowerer back to this chest. So the first thing we want to make is these crystal bundles. I've got the materials here for 8 crafts worth of the 3 empowered blocks that we need. So once we turn this extract on, you can see all of the display stand items go to their respective display stands. And we're getting our empowered glod. Looks like it picked emeradic next. I maybe didn't think about this issue though. The recipes getting mixed up. That's probably a blocking mode solution or some sort of item laser, but that just means that we have to only put 1 recipe's worth in at a time. And this empowerer is kinda slow. I kinda wish we had the extended crafting version of these recipes, but it doesn't look like it's in this pack. Also, when I was designing the build of this room, I am aware that I'm getting a little bit blocky again. I don't know, it's very difficult to mix things up with this sort of style. I did try to vary it a bit with the wall coming out here, but it does still need some work to spruce it up a bit. Alright, but just the diamantine left to craft. But once we have all the empowered crystals, we have to put these through the alloy smelter. This is going to give us our crystal bundles. We've then got to take those crystal bundles and empower them with some solidified experience. So I will have to add the solidified experience into each of these filters for the input items. And also the crystal bundle into the middle and powder filter. Then we can just toss all those in the box. And after several minutes we get our 30 empowered crystal bundles. This is definitely something we'll want to parallelize. Then we can atomically reconstruct these things. And we've got our Elevatium and our trophy. So yeah, the Elevatium ingots opens up this next part of chapter 12. We actually get access to jetpacks here. I wonder what the recipe is for these things. Yeah, this is probably something worth making. It does take 2 pieces of Elevatium per thruster. But this also opens up the long-awaited chapter 13. And this is where we can get auto-crafted. But there is still a few steps that we have to go through. So the first quest in this chapter is to make cosmic alloy. So from looking through JEI a bit, in order for us to get auto-crafting, we have to get Iridium, which we can only get from the Industrial Foregoing Laser Drill. But to build this thing, we need Steaming Restonia, which in this pack takes steam and DT fuel, which means we have to do the whole tritium deuterium production, which means we're going to need lithium, which comes from the Thermal Evaporation Controller, and I think we'll need 2 of these things, one from brine to lithium, and one from water to brine. And these things are not cheap, these take a cosmic alloy each. And I think even, yeah, the thermal evaporation blocks, which is what we form the multi-block from, take 1 Elevatium in their craft. So I think before progressing any further, I'm going to batch craft a couple of stacks of this Elevatium if I can. That's going to take a lot of glod. Alright, so after just about 40 minutes of crafting or so, we got up to just under a stack of Elevatium ingots, which should be enough to get us the laser drill. And hopefully we can get this thing today. So the first thing we need, as I mentioned, is the Thermal Evaporation Controller, which means we need 2 more quantum discs, and apparently we're out of vibrant alloy. All of these alloys are really not an issue by now in terms of resources, since we have the builder and things, and the Enderman farm. It just takes time to fill our machines up, but soon enough we're going to be passively crafting all of these alloys. This is also going to take a decent amount of bricks as well. We should really invest in upgrading these smelting factories for all of the things we have to smelt. I found myself coming over here a lot more than I'd like. So these Thermal Evaporation Controller multi-blocks can be up to 18 blocks tall, but since the insane cost with the Elevatium, I don't think we're going to go for the full 18 for both of them. We may just get the quest items and then split them up. So to get enough Thermal Evaporation blocks, we need 61 I counted to get the quest items and both of the valves that we need. Which is actually chewing through our Elevatium here. Oh no. Alright, well there's a stack. We need our 2 controllers. And we'll need 4 valves, which, oh man, this is a cosmic alloy each. Alright, so now that we have all the pieces for these multi-blocks, we need somewhere to put these. I was thinking like over in this little corner over here of this room. Yeah, maybe we'll change up this walkway and have it continue this way a bit. So we'll cut it off right about here. And then we'll have it continue back this way a bit. And take out all of this excess, and then we can have our 2 controllers right about here. Unfortunately, these things are 4x4, which is kind of not easy to center when you're doing odd numbers in your room, but something like this should work. So once we place this last block, it should form the multi-block. I had to make up some more casings as, yeah, this was the bare minimum that it takes for one of these things. I thought we could get away with less, but yeah, it looks like we need all 37 of the casings for one of these. 1 casing short. Aha, so now we have our 2 thermal evaporation controllers. The first one needs water, so I have the unending bowl that I took from the farming station over there actually. So we can put this thing underneath, just hook up some conduit. Wait, do conduits not connect to these things? Actually, I think it's just that the bottom is not a valid slot for the water input. So once we hook up the valve to the side, we can see that this thing is starting to fill with water and we're getting a trickling amount of brine out of this thing. So the speed of this thing depends on the heat that it's at. Right now we're only up to 32 degrees Celsius, which is nothing for this thing. There are multiple ways to speed this up and add more heat. Probably the best way to do it is through the resistive heater. But this thing takes 2 more cosmic alloy and some elite control circuits, so we're going to hold off on that for, at least for now, since I think we're down to our last 4 Elevatium. I definitely didn't craft enough of that thing. But this has given us our brine, which we're going to pump into the second evaporation tower. So we have to come out on another valve here. The other valve up here is for the resistive heater. All inputs and outputs have to go through the valve on these multi-blocks. So I'm going to send brine out on yellow, and we can just insert on this one. So now this is filling with brine and giving us liquid lithium. But the next quest here wants us to get lithium dust. So to do this, we need to take our lithium from the thermal evaporation controller. I believe it's this gaseous version. Or no, we're getting liquid lithium, which we need to turn into gaseous lithium, which we can do with Mekanism's rotary condensator. We crafted this up to as part of the plastic setup actually, but since we're no longer using it for that, we can use it for our lithium. So I made up another valve here, more cosmic alloy. So we're going to stick this on the side of the second thermal evaporation tower. Then we're going to connect up some conduit to output the liquid lithium. This conduit is connected up to our condensator, where this will turn it from liquid into gas. So from here, we have to make we have to make a chemical crystallizer, which is some more cosmic alloy, some enhanced machine chassis, 2 ultimate gas tanks, and an ultimate control circuit. Alright, so it looks like we have to make some more Elevatium here. I think I've only got 2 left. This episode's getting very expensive today. I did start this process back up of making blaze powder with our liquid EXP and some sulfur. We're getting all of our sulfur, by the way, from sag milling. I think is it coal maybe? I think it may be coal ore that I'm sag milling to get the sulfur. And this blaze powder we can just put through the compactor to get blaze rods. Alright, so I made up enough for another, I think it's 18 Elevatium ingots. Just making up the empowered crystal bundles. And for now I've just kept a collection of all the materials for this thing in here. I did also make up some empowered Inori crystals, which is an equally tedious craft to do here, but we need these as part of the resistive heater. Alright, so I made up some more Elevatium. We need our 2 ultimate control circuits, and with that I think we can craft our chemical crystallizer. So obviously all of these machines need power, and also the resistive heater, when we build that thing it will go here and also needs power. So I'm going to take this time and transition over to using the Ender energy conduits. In this pack we can actually upgrade these to much better crystalline alloy conduits. But the upgrade is very expensive, and we're not producing enough power to justify that yet. So the Ender energy conduits is what we're going to use, and we're going to use the power cell to be able to get energy over here. This power cell will almost definitely be getting moved to a more efficient location. We'll probably place it somewhere in the center of the room and then run conduits, since it's cheaper to run conduits than it is to craft a power cell for each setup. So we've built up just a tiny amount of lithium just passively through these evaporation controllers. That's then going to go into our crystallizer, where we're getting our lithium dust. I think we need 4 of these for the quest though. Oh no, I just realized this gives us 12 evaporation blocks. Oh, I should have held off on making the second one and just reused the first. Oh well, we can use those to expand, I guess. And in fact, you know what? I think we're going to move these machines up 1 block. Alright, and there's our quest. We'll claim our rewards, and we'll use these blocks to expand our tower. Since I made up some more Elevatium, we may as well just craft this resistive heater. Oh, it does take another iron casing though. Do we have another machine frame for this? I don't know if we do, to be honest. We can make one though, which we can turn into a casing. And then the actual additions heat collector. I'm not actually sure what this thing does on its own. But then we need the fuel wood heater for the resistive heater. This thing I believe we can actually burn coal and wood for heat, but it's nowhere near as efficient or as fast as the one that consumes RF. So there is our resistive heater. And this thing we're going to put right here. I think that's the right way to place this thing. And we'll hook this up to our energy conduits. So we can already hear the resistive heater running. This is set to 40 degrees it looks like by default, or 40 RF per tick, the usage. Which we can increase here, but I'm tempted just to leave it for now. This thing is heating up, but eventually it will balance itself out and cap out at a certain temperature. And of course, the more RF you use in your resistive heater, the more heat it will produce. So now that we have our lithium, I'd like to switch over to the other side of the quest tab here, as the other component for Steaming Restonia crystals is steam. And this is where I wish we were in GregTech to get the fluid heater, but instead we have to build this massive multi-block to make steam. And even just taking a peek at these recipes, they are they are not nice. We need some valves which take more cosmic alloy, some enhanced machine parts, solarium, and you guessed it, even more cosmic alloy. And not only that, we need another resistive heater for this thing to get it up to temperature so that it's capable of outputting steam for us. One of the main components in the casing for this multi-block is lithium ingots. And these are fairly simple to craft. We just need to smelt our lithium dust that we just created. So yeah, it looks like we need about another stack of Elevatium for this thing. about half a stack of lithium, who knows how much dark steel, and a handful of machine casings, it looks like. So I've got a lot more crafting to do, and I'll be back when we're ready to start setting this thing up. To account for the extra cost though, I did actually increase the RF on this resistive heater up to 500, which has taken our temperature in the thermal evaporation controller up. We're already up to 960 degrees, which is producing us lots and lots of lithium here. But yeah, more crafting, and this time I've learned my lesson. You guys did warn me in the comments of last episode, but this time we're gonna go for at least 2 stacks of Elevatium. Oh, how strange. I came down here to the mob farm and we're not actually spawning any mobs here. Is that all the cursed earth has disappeared? I have no clue what's causing that, but it looks like we'll need some more cursed earth. Alright, so more Elevatium has been acquired. There is some more being crafted though. So we need 1 pressure disperser, a superheating element, some boiler casings, 2 boiler valves, and optionally some structural glass. Oh man, this impowder is slow, especially when you're doing like stacks at a time. Alright, so we got our quest, now we have to start thinking about where we want to set this thing up. And I'm considering actually moving these 2 machines here for lithium. We have to combine our steam with the DT fuel, but this is going to be after we create steam, so I may put the steam multi-block in this little corner and extend the room out a bit. And then we can have these 2 machines on the other side of that. Yeah, so I think this is going to work out a little bit better. So I've moved some things around to accommodate for the extra steps we need. We are still solidifying our lithium into dust, but I realised that we also need this gaseous lithium for the other part of DT fuel, which is to go into the solar neutron activator. So I've buffered it in this gas tank so that later we can put this lithium into the solar neutron activator. So I'm going to leave some space for that setup, and we're going to put our multi-block right about here. So this multi-block fortunately can be an even number, which means it's a bit easier to center in this room. Although I believe you can expand it further. So we start off with some casings, and then we need some structural glass. I think it's like this though, with the pressure dispenser on the top. Yeah, the multi-block has formed here. So now we have to give this water and also heat. So I made another resistive heater that we're going to use for this. This again has to go through the valves. And we also need another unending bowl for this to give it water, which we're going to plug into the second valve here. And I wondered, does this auto input? Doesn't look like it does. Okay, so we need some conduit for this then. And it's not getting any water. I wonder if this has to be the other way around. Maybe the water has to be in this one. Yeah, now we're getting water. So the resistive heater must have to go against the superheating element, which makes sense. So once this thing reaches 100 degrees, it should produce us some steam. And in fact, thinking about this, we are probably going to need another valve for this. I'm also going to make a decent amount of these muffling upgrades because that machine room is getting very loud with all those Mekanism machines in there. Unfortunately, I don't think there's any way to quieten down these things. Maybe some sound mufflers would work for this. Yeah, let's try it. I think it's these resistive heaters making all the noise. Oh, it worked. Nice. Alright, so we've got our steam, we've got our lithium. We now need to make some DT fuel. Oh nice, the quest reward gives us 32 dark steel. So yeah, the next step is to make the solar neutron activator. And for these things we need a couple of these photovoltaic cells, which we can actually also use for solar panels, which we may get into for increased power gen. Hold on, are we going to have enough Osgo glass for this thing? We need an induction cell, advanced tier. And so we need 1 advanced energy cube, plus another 4 basic, which each require 4 energy tablets, which are 3 Osgo glass each. Oh man, that is pricey. And to make the basic energy cells, we also need the HV Immersive Engineering energy cells, which are a lot of resources on their own. Alright, there's 4 basic induction cells. Can we upgrade this? We just need 2 more tablets. Okay. Alright, it looks like we did batch craft enough this time. So with that, we can make our solar neutron activator, which I was thinking that we put right about here, as I think it takes input from the front. We should just have to set the output on this gas tank to the back. No, maybe it's the bottom that it inputs. Yeah, it looks like it is the bottom that it inputs. So this way it gives us tritium. We have to output that through the front, which isn't an ideal placement for this now. Well, in that case, let's just flip it round, and then we can output technically the front, but it's the back. So the other part we need for DT fuel is deuterium. And to get that, we need heavy water, which we need this filter upgrade for. Very interesting recipe here for, for the blank dark steel upgrade. But we're also going to need a Mekanism electric pump and a chemical infuser. Oh, we're missing quite a lot from this thing. Now can we craft this? Ah yes, nice. Okay, so there is our chemical infuser. So now we just need to put everything together. Alright, so I think I've got all this figured out now. We were missing a few steps, and it did take some time, but I think I've got everything all nice and neat here. So let me run you through this. So we're outputting the gaseous lithium and converting it to liquid with the condensator. That is then buffered in the gas tank, where half of it goes into the crystallizer for dust, which is output to this drawer, and the other half goes to the solar neutron activator to make lithium. The lithium is then extracted from the front of this machine using pressurized tubes from Mekanism. It's kind of a shame that we don't get gas conduits in here, but the mod that adds that is not in the pack, so unfortunately we have to use these pressurized tubes from Mekanism. But the tritium goes into the chemical infuser, where it gets chemically infused with deuterium. So the deuterium comes from this pump here that we crafted. This has the filter upgrade. And the heavy water comes out on this ender fluid conduit to go inside the electrolytic separator, where I forgot to dump excess oxygen. But the heavy water is separated into oxygen and deuterium. The deuterium is transported down via the gas tube into the chemical infuser and output to the gas tank in front of it, which is giving us the DT fuel. And then that is output on the bottom, where it goes into the bottom side of this pressurized reaction chamber, where it's mixing with our steam, which I had to actually move over a few blocks to fit all this in. And unfortunately the steam only comes out from the block that's touching the superheating element on the top of it, so we have to do this sort of wiring at the back. But that goes into the other side of this pressurized reaction chamber, and now we can create our Steaming Restonia. We're just missing Empowered Restonia, which we haven't made yet. This is made in the Empowder, with infernal bulbs, bricks, redstone alloy, and signalum gears. So yeah, this setup could do with a little bit of tidying up and some conduit facades to hide this thing. But for the most part, I tried to design it so that it was a nice clean interface in the front, and that it was easy to cover up all the wiring in the back. Hopefully I've also left enough space just in case we need to upgrade this thing. I could see maybe having to add some more pumps for heavy water, or perhaps some more solar neutron activators, but I'm not sure how much of this we're going to need late game. Is that even really a question we should be asking though with this pack? I mean, we just need too much of every material by now. Alright, but I collected up some materials to make some Empowered Restonia. Oh nice, some more of the crystal bundles were here. I forgot I still had those. Alright, there is our Empowered Restonia, which we now have to put through the PRC. And I noticed this actually also gives us a bit of the DT fuel back, so maybe we won't have to buffer DT fuel production. For every 240 millibuckets for the recipe, it gives us 180 back. So that's going to be well worth recycling, I think. Oh, nice. We got our Steaming Restonia, which gives us another 4 for free. I'll definitely take those. So this was our gate into the laser drill. Hi, zombie. So to make the drill, we need 4 laser drills and 1 laser base. And this thing takes a full block of Steaming Restonia, as well as some of this crystalline alloy ingots. I don't think we've made these yet. So this is Elevatium, grains of pizzality, and vivid alloy. We do also need 5 machine cases. Do we make these? We can make 1. Actually, we may be able to get all 5 here. Yeah, we can. Alright, nice. This is going to take a little bit more crafting to get though, as I'm going to need to make some more Restonia. And for this I need to make some more signalum. Copper, silver, redstone. I seem to recall we were actually low on silver. Yeah, we only have 300 ingots. But that shouldn't be a problem. We have 11 stacks over here at our quarry. Alright, so I think we'll just make up 8 of this crystalline alloy right now. That should be enough for us, I think. So to get this iridium ore we're after, it looks like the most efficient place to put this thing is in the end dimension. We can see here with the white laser lens, we get a weight of 8 between Y level 5 and Y level 68. But I think we just need another 7 Steaming Restonia, and we can make our laser base, and hopefully 4 laser drills. Aha! Oh, nice, nice. And we get some plastic. Not that we need plastic at this point though. So yeah, this opens up the Iridium quest. And once we get Iridium, we can make these processors, and once we have the processors, we can get interfaces. So I'm going to also make up another power cell in order to power this thing from the end. There's the simple one, and we can make the basic power cell. We can actually also upgrade these to the advanced, just with some mithril. But we're completely out of mithril, so we'll save on that for now. Alright, so we're over here at our end farm here. I'm going to place it just next to this farm, since this chunk is going to be chunk loaded, and it saves chunk loading another chunk on top of this thing. Alright, so I believe the way this laser drill works is we can actually place it anywhere and set the Y level in the GUI here. So it was between 5 and 68, so I guess we can just go to 6. I don't actually think it matters which one we pick. We'll put in our white laser lens, and then we have to surround these with the laser drills. Alright, so now I think we have to give power to... I don't remember if it's the laser base itself or these drills. It looks like it's the drills. So I brought along some conduit with me. This also does output the top, I think. So we're going to put a crate on this. And we can power cell on top of this. Take out our intruder. And we'll just conduit from here. Oh, and I forgot the card for this. Oh no. Alright, I have to go back for it then. Yeah, we have to link this power cell card with all of the rest of the power cells. And then we put the power cell card inside the power cell and set this to output, where these are now being powered. We don't have any speed upgrades in this thing, but I believe it does take up to 4 speed upgrades. So these laser drills are going to fill this laser base with work. Once it reaches 100%, I think it will output us some ore. This thing is quite slowed by default though. Looks like we got draconium here. Okay, I'm curious what else we can get here. And we will also need a filter for this to blacklist the laser lens, as we don't want to pull this out of the laser base. 3 draconium in a row as well. This iridium might be more rare than I thought. And we're also up to 237 stacks of blocks of ender pearls. Wow, that's crazy. It's only been like 2 days, and this is not on a server either, so it's only when I'm logged in. Oh nice, we also got our first piece of iridium. So I wonder, can we get more than 1 dust from this thing? Can we sag mill this ore? Oh, looks like we can, and we get some platinum output chance as well. So that's exactly what we're gonna do. And now we have our first iridium. So with that, I think this is a good point to wrap up this episode. Tomorrow we're gonna come back and make our interfaces and start the real automation in this base. I'm going to also tidy up this little mechanism area as well, and try to finish off the rest of the building here, while we wait on that laser collecting on some more iridium. But we made some very, very nice progress today, a lot of crafting though. So that's going to do us for today. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow for some more Divine Journey 2.